Hey everyone, it's David Sirota. So you've heard a lot of Democrats criticizing the insurance industry right now in the healthcare debate. But what you haven't probably heard a lot about is how subsidies, taxpayer subsidies, continue to flow to the health insurance industry. There was a big subsidy that was announced, got very little press, by Governor Andrew Cuomo of New York, the Democrat of New York. He's been criticizing Congress over its behavior on health care. He's been criticizing the Republicans about Trump care. The Democrats in general have been saying that the Trump health care policy is a giveaway to the insurance companies. And yet in New York, Governor Cuomo's office announced a big subsidy to Aetna, $34 million of taxpayer money to Aetna to move its headquarters to New York City. They say about 250 jobs will be created in New York City, moving from Connecticut to New York. Also, what wasn't reported in that subsidy to that very profitable insurance company was the fact that the deal will end up benefiting a major real estate company that is run by one of Andrew Cuomo's biggest donors. The deal has Aetna moving into a building run by a company called Vornado, which is run by a major donor, a really big donor to Andrew Cuomo's campaign. A donor who has donated, him and his wife, tens of thousands of dollars to Andrew Cuomo's political campaigns. So you have a situation in which a very, very wealthy company, a very, very profitable health insurance company, is getting a taxpayer subsidy to basically move its offices over the border from Connecticut into New York City. A lot of critics who are experts in subsidy policy say this is basically, there's no way that the state and the city will break even on this, that it's essentially not worth the money to taxpayers to spend that kind of money on a subsidy to an insurance company, that you're spending so much per job that the taxpayers are never going to recoup that amount of money. But the more general point is that the insurance industry, the health insurance industry, has become one of the most subsidized industries in the country. I mean, this is an industry that gets Obamacare subsidies, but also huge amounts of state and local economic development subsidies. In our reporting in International Business Times, we took a look at some of the data and found that over the last many years, more than $250 million of state and local subsidies, economic development subsidies and the like, have flowed to a handful of major health insurance companies. These are the companies that are already wildly profitable, making huge amounts of money on the healthcare system. But again, $250+ million flowing to these companies in the form of state and local subsidies. And the thing is that these subsidies flow to these companies regardless of their record. I mean, let's go back to the Aetna deal for a second. The Aetna deal in New York City. Aetna is receiving the subsidies from the state of New York, from Governor Cuomo's administration, only 7 years after New York state regulators fined it $1.6 million for failing to provide consumers information and explanation of their benefits. The company was fined another $500,000 in 2014 by New York regulators for violating consumer protection laws. Cuomo himself heralded that 2014 action by state regulators, and yet the state turned right around and delivered big subsidies to Aetna, subsidies, taxpayer subsidies that are more lucrative, more valuable than the fines that were assessed for the company's misbehavior. So there is a huge issue going on in this country where states and cities are facing major budget constraints, major budget cuts. And yet the amounts of money flowing out from those states and cities to very profitable corporations continues to happen. I mean, we saw it recently in the deal promoted by Scott Walker and Donald Trump, the Foxconn deal in Wisconsin. But these deals are happening all the time. And you have a health insurance industry that's already getting federal subsidies, also raking in huge state and local subsidies while they charge higher premiums for health care and while they make huge amounts of money off the healthcare system.